No, no, it's fine. Hi, Courtney. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? It's good to
Good.
see
It's been a
you.
while. I know.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I think it's been almost 3 years now since
Oh my
since I moved into this apartment.
Amazing. So I wanted to
Yeah.
talk to you about your experience working with us and just, chat a little bit about that. So why don't you explain, what you were looking for, how you found us, and kind of walk us through the process of how we began.
Yeah. So it was in the middle of COVID where my husband and I were living in a 400 square foot studio apartment, which was fine in our 20s. But when you're starting to spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in that space, it starts to get a
There's
little cramped.
not enough space in the world to spend
Not
more than
at
24
all.
hours a day.
Not at all. So we knew that and especially as we were entering our 30s and we started thinking about family planning, we knew that we wanted to, and we still wanted to live in New York City, especially in the Upper West Side. We started looking around for other alternatives. We knew we wanted a 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom, but honestly, it'd been a while since we had ever been since we've been in the real estate market, and
Yeah.
especially during COVID everything was in a little bit of a free fall. There was a lot of uncertainty in the market. So, we knew we could start with street easy, but beyond street easy, it would be challenging to
No
figure out
man's
what
land.
exactly to
Yeah.
do. Exactly. So we found out about Nestapple through actually a coworker of my husband's of Gio's, who he worked with Nicole in the past, trying to buy his apartment and had nothing but great things to say. So I think word of mouth is always better than doing a random Google
I know.
search for
I know.
New York City real estate broker, where you'll find 1.5 million results.
Yeah.
So we reached out and then the rest is history.
I know.
Um,
So we went to see the apartment, I remember. So it's on West End Avenue.
yep.
There was a good amount of interest, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No, there was you heard all the headlines. Again, this is, call it November, December 2020. So you hear all the headlines about, a mass exodus from New York City, as everybody's fleeing to the suburbs. But, we actually found that still wasn't quite the case. There was still, for high quality apartments,
yeah,
there was still, decent demand for that.
yeah,
Maybe it wasn't 20 bids for an apartment, but it was still, at least, 3 to 5, and
yeah.
that's still 2 to 4 more than you were hoping for,
Correct.
as a potential buyer.
Yeah.
So, I remember we met with you. There was a lot of interest in this apartment, and I think, your guidance in terms of helping us, strategize around what the next steps would be, especially with that strong interest, was extremely helpful and super crucial.
Yeah.
Apologies for the background noise. That's my son cooing in the background in affirmation.
Beautiful noises.
um, yeah.
Yeah. And then, at any point, did you feel because you were gonna get 2/3 of whatever I got as your broker, did you feel like we there were shortcuts or there was any sort of guidance that wasn't given or the board package wasn't done with you? Or did you feel like the service provided was somehow different because of the rebate option?
Not at all. Not at all. I think, that's certainly obviously a nice bonus,
Yeah.
but the quality of the service, from seeing the apartment with us all the way through, it is a co-op, so there's obviously more complexity that's due with a co-op, and putting together the board package, guiding through what the board interview process is like. You guys were with us every step of the way and provided, a true, white glove service to us,
And then
to,
we
to us
became
during that
friends.
process. And then
Yay.
we became friends. And
Yay.
then we invited you guys over for cocktails too.
I know, I know. And then
Um,
we started popping babies, both you and me.
and then we both started popping babies. So yeah, instead of popping champagne bottles, we're
I
popping
know.
babies.
The champagne bottles will keep coming.
They
Let me
will, they
ask you,
will.
would you recommend using me and our team to family and friends? Have you done so since we used
Uh,
you? Yeah.
100%. Anytime anybody's asked, has started looking around for, New York City real estate, I tell them like unequivocally, you should talk to George and Nicole,
Mm.
and Nestapple. The service they provide is, again, top notch, white glove service, really, from start to finish service in terms of walking you through the whole process, which can be complex and somewhat opaque.
Yeah.
But given your experience, I have nothing but great things to say. And
Yeah.
I think you guys have worked with a couple of with a couple of our friends,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
friends since then. We've even asked if you would work with potential people outside of New York City, in
Yeah.
Seattle, in New Jersey, or maybe
Yeah.
no, not quite in New Jersey, but in Seattle and different parts. But we're not
No, but
quite. I guess
speaking
you guys
of
are not
that,
quite in
no,
Seattle yet.
we are,
But
no, Seattle hasn't happened, but Connecticut, we are licensed in Connecticut.
oh,
And
great.
I'm getting my license in New Jersey. So, that's happening. And, the idea is just to be able to expand and offer the same service, in other places, because this is really a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing that I really love about Nest Apple is that, you also you complement what the buyer is looking for, as much as we need. So, I knew what I was looking for in terms of the type of apartment.
Right.
And then you also, but it's always helpful to hear also from a real estate professional, how does this apartment, this 2-bed, 2-bath apartment compare to other apartments within the
Yeah.
within the area, within the building, and what's the current market looking for.
Yeah.
Our experience was there was a little bit of complexity, given that there was a little bit of a sale leaseback structure.
Yeah.
So, providing that additional tailored service in terms of thinking about how to price that rental, how to negotiate and make sure that we were protected in that sale leaseback structure after we closed,
Yeah.
is something that I wouldn't have expected, but it was a really pleasant surprise to see you guys really work with us through even that process as well.
Did you end up using any of the people in our network, attorneys, inspectors, lenders? Did you use any of those people, or you had those of your own?
I had my own, mainly because the mortgage I got through a family friend,
Right.
who I've known for literally 25 years.
Yeah.
And she worked very closely with a lawyer
Yeah.
who's done a lot of her work.
Yeah. Because
So,
you had a very smooth transaction.
yeah, exactly. So, we just use that. We just use them.
Okay, cool. And are you guys happy in the apartment?
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, it's been almost 3 years, which is crazy to think how quickly time
I
has flown
know.
by.
I know.
But you'll be very proud of us to know that we finally replaced those, like, we had a bunch of construction light bulbs
Yes,
that the
yes,
previous
yes,
tenant
yes, yes,
put
yes, yes,
in,
yes.
because I mean they had very nice chandeliers, and we just bought new chandeliers for the place.
It only took
It's
you
only
three
been a
years,
couple of
Courtney.
years.
Exactly.
Yeah, it only took 3 years before we were sick and tired of that god awful fluorescent white lights.
I know. And I
But
think
yeah.
when we worked with you, we were only representing buyers, but in the last couple of years, I think that the business model has expanded, and we are now working with sellers where, instead of listing for the traditional 5-6%, which is going to be the seller's biggest expense,
Mhm.
we take listings, and you as a seller would pay as little as 1.5 or 2%, and maximum
That's amazing.
5%. So it's also a huge savings. So whenever you guys are ready to upgrade, we'll be ready then.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't imagine saying bye to this apartment. But if we had to at some point in the future, I can imagine no better hands to put it
Awesome.
in than you guys.
Thank you so much, Courtney.
Thank you. Have
Have
a
a
great
great
day.
day. Yeah, you too.
All right, bye.